Alright, I made it to Mrs. Kapper's first mark tree here. These are all cedars. And I gotta be really careful because they are very brittle and they're all dead. That's what makes them easy to work on. And she wants me to try and get the root ball, or part of the root, because that makes a leg for whatever, a lamp or a piece of furniture. So I'll push this dead thing off of there carefully, and we'll try the first one, see if I destroy it or not. Good news is the woods are just littered with dead ones in here. Look at all the yellow flags everywhere. Let's give it a whirl.
Alright, so this is one of the trees that I'm going to make posts out of for the bed that I'm going to make. So I found this one. It's been dead for quite a while. You can see it's got a lot of wear on it, but basically looks like that other one that I did by the fireplace that turned out pretty darn good. So I think this one will work out good. Just gonna trim down some of the branches. There's a few I leave them on until I know for sure what I'm gonna use it for. But it's gonna sand down pretty good, I think. You can tell it's been out in the elements for quite a while. Looks like a fence post, but get it all smoothed out. Figure out what I'm going to cut off here, what I'm going to keep, and at the end here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the, there's one really tall root right there that's sticking out. I'm going to use that as the base and then just trim the bottom so it'll have a little bit of a natural bottom on it. I'll figure out where that one goes and make it level, and then that'll be the base, and then up. Here is actually the first post that I made for the bed. I kept one of the long roots out there, and then I just trimmed the rest of them. And I didn't take a picture of this before, and you know, I should have, now that I see how nice it turned out, but it's almost all solid red because the outside has been wore off that much, but it's really got a cool feature right there in the middle. It's really neat. Wasn't sure how good it was going to clean up, but it cleaned up pretty good. So I'll trim that down. That one's probably about 10 feet tall right now, but that's how that one turned out. Pretty cool in the middle there, and it's darker than the other ones because it's all the way down to the heartwood. So that's the first one. All right, so this project was a continuation of a bed that I'm going to make. These are going to be the two posts, and the iron railing that we have in the house with the different animal wildlife prints. That's actually going to go in between those two. This one here on the left is going to be the one that's visible when you walk into the room. So I got one that had some of the roots on it. That'll make a really cool floor piece right on top of the carpet there. And I just put the first coat on. I started at the root, and the reason that is so dark, and you can see the difference in the colors. And again, I know it always turns out orange on the camera, but it's not orange. This one here, because it's already all the way down to the heartwood, that's why it's so dark and so red. This one here, you can see the end of it right there, it's all red. These logs have been dead for so long that all of the outside wood has already fallen off and eroded off. So when I sanded it, it brings it down to almost right down to the heartwood. You can see it popping out in between here. So that's what these two will be. I wanted to make sure that I had this one just above the iron railing that's going to be there, so that'll be the top of the post. They're 74 inches, and this will sit above, kind of above where the headboard's going to be. But I wanted to make sure I kept that out. It's just really cool. Obviously it has some kind of trauma or something happened to it, but it made some really cool effects. So again, I'm using the wipe-on poly from Minwax. I just use the satin because I don't like that real shiny. And even with the satin, after you put about 2 or 3 coats on, I think that's what that one maybe has 3 coats on, and you can see it's a little shiny. So I wouldn't want anything shinier than that. And this is still wet. I have been using just an old sock with some of the varnish on it, but for this one here, wherever there's a dent or there's a lot of splits in here because it's so dry, I'm also using a brush just to make sure that it all soaks in there really good. And again, this is just the first coat, and you can see it's just soaking up like water. So after a couple of coats, it'll be a lot better. And down here there were a lot of splits in it, so I made sure I used a brush. But the rest of it I do hand rub on with just a glove and an old sock. So. Alright, well I got the second coat on yesterday and it's dry already. You can see it's a little bit shiny already. But I'm going to put just one more coat because I have 3 on this other one here. And you can tell they're a little bit different in color, but I have not yet to find any trees that are too exactly the same. I mean, that's what Mother Nature does. Alright, so the iron railing section came in. We ordered it from Menards. We got it when they were having their 11% rebate. So I think the original price was like $160. So, you know, it was a few bucks off. So anything helps. But this is a 29 by 68 inch. So it'll be just the right size for a king size bed with 2 posts on the side. It's the cattail design. This is a design that we don't have out in the stairs. So I brought it inside in the other bedroom to assemble. First of all, it's air conditioned in here, and I'm not going to have to make a whole lot of mess, but I have the 2 posts. I'm going to set them up approximately where they're going to be, and then I'm going to figure out, once I get it up there, figure out if I'm going to put another log across the top and across the bottom, but we'll see how it looks first. These were the other railing panels that I was referring to. There was 2 long ones, and then there was a short one of the 44-inch on the end over here that we use for the railing. So it'll basically be just like that. So this is what it'll look like. I'll just be raising that panel up 29 inches to the top of the mattress. So it'll just be moved up like bed height.
All right, check out this project that Mrs. Kapper made. This is all red cedar from the property here. And that's just a custom panel from Menards, but it blends in everything else with the house. We couldn't make a video. It was just too time intensive to take the time to make a video, but we wanted to just show you this. This is the bed frame here for one of the master bedrooms here. So let's put the bed in there and see how it turned out. Alright, here's the final setup. My wife informed me that if she didn't build it, we could have paid $2,000 for a very similar one, because she prices these things out, which is how we try to get to where we are. I mean, we got a nice home, but we try to do as much as we can on our own to really save on costs. So, I mean, that panel was probably $200. and all cedar wood from the property. And look at the ends here. She actually has the ends with the root ball on both sides, actually just on this side because it's out in the open here. But turned out just beautiful. And that picture is you recognize that? That's a picture of the waterfall on the property. We may change that one, but we're just experimenting. Beautiful.